hear two students on a media studies course talking about a presentation one of the students is going to give. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 8. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully to the conversation and answer questions 1 to 8.
Hi, Marianne. I've been wanting to have a word with you. Listen, I'm afraid I can't make it to your presentation, the one you're giving at the Media Studies Seminar on Thursday. I'm taking my driving test, you see.
Oh, what a pity. Oh, sorry. I don't mean about your driving test. It's just that I was hoping for a bit of moral support from you, Fran.
I know, and I really wanted to hear what you have to say.
Well, how about if I tell you all about it now? I've got my notes with me here, and it'll be good practice for me.
Okay, I've got some time before my next lecture. What was the subject again? Trends in news consumption, wasn't it?
That's right. Now, let me see. Oh, pull up a chair. Here we are. Well, the first thing I'm going to talk about is how newspaper circulation is falling in a lot of Western countries. Sales have been dropping in Britain, the United States and Germany. They're the only countries I've got figures for so far, for more than 10 years now.
Why's that? Is it because people are too busy nowadays?
Well, it's certainly partly because of things like video games, television, magazines and the internet. Nowadays, there's so much competition for people's free time that something has to lose, and to some extent, it's newspapers.
It must be very worrying for newspaper publishers then.
Absolutely. And even more worrying is the fact that the majority of readers are either middle-aged or older, over 45 at any rate. Young people just aren't in the habit of reading newspapers like their parents and grandparents. And of course, newspaper publishers realise that if people don't get into the habit while they're young, then eventually newspaper reading will become a minority activity.
I suppose the fact that you can get the news on the internet these days means that most people feel it's no longer necessary to buy a paper every day.
Yeah, that's one theory, though of course the news has always been available from other sources such as radio and television. What makes the internet different is that it offers the possibility of going straight to the specific information you want. With the internet, you don't have to wade through page after page to find the 2 or 3 articles that interest you. Or, as in the case of television, sit through a half-hour programme in the hope that the information that interests you will come up. If you just want to know what the weather forecast is, let's say, the internet's far quicker.
I can remember my grandparents sometimes buying a newspaper just for one article. What a waste of trees.
But the threat to newspapers isn't just because the internet offers specialised information. People's reading habits are changing. They don't want to have to read lengthy articles anymore.
So, just the headlines and a little more, really?
That's right. Another thing is that people like the news to be frequently updated, and they want to be able to follow the stories that interest them, not necessarily minute by minute, but whenever it suits them. So now the internet's becoming an even more popular way of obtaining breaking news than the radio.
But going back to papers, it really sounds like they're in trouble.
And it's not just because of falling circulation. The internet also threatens newspaper income because classified advertising, the mainstay of newspaper revenue, is more efficient on the internet.
Yeah, I've noticed there seem to be fewer ads in papers these days.
And distribution costs, which newspapers have to cover, don't apply to the internet, so the whole news operation over the web can function much more cheaply. What's more...
That is the end. You now have half a minute to check your answers.